Dear students, I am Hiba Haq, lecturer of physics from Government Degree College, Balir Kent, Karachi. Today I am going to explain simple harmonic motion, which is a topic from chapter number 8, first year synth textbook. So let's start. Okay, in this topic I shall discuss what is simple harmonic motion, and then after that I will explain Hooke's law and elastic restoring forces. Then after that I will explain few important definitions, and after that I will discuss the application of simple harmonic motion, which include a mass attached to a spring, then simple harmonic motion and uniform circular motion, and at the end simple pendulum. Let's start with our first topic, that what is simple harmonic motion. A motion which take place under the influence of an elastic restoring force and in the absence of all frictional forces is known as simple harmonic motion. When a body executes a to and fro motion about some fixed point, its motion is said to be oscillatory motion or a vibratory motion. Simple harmonic motion is the special type of oscillatory motion. The acceleration of a body executing simple harmonic motion is directly proportional to the negative of displacement of that body and always directed towards the equilibrium position. So this is the condition for a simple harmonic motion, that the acceleration of a body executing simple harmonic motion should be proportional to negative of displacement. So it means that whenever we try to find that the motion of a body is simple harmonic or not, what we do, we just find out the value of acceleration, and if the acceleration satisfied this condition, then it is a simple harmonic motion. Okay, if we talk about Hooke's law and elastic restoring forces, Hooke's law is the first classical example of an explanation of elasticity. Now, by elasticity, we mean that it is a property of an object or material which causes it to be restored to its original shape after distortion, which means that when we apply some amount of force on a system, and after removing that force, the system will regain its initial position. So this is known as elasticity. The best example is our rubber band, that when you stretch it and when you release it, the rubber band will retain its original shape. So if we talk about this statement, the force needed to stretch or compress a spring by some displacement is proportional to that displacement, but in opposite to it in direction. So the amount of force required to stretch or compress any spring is directly proportional to negative of displacement, where negative sign shows that force is always in opposite direction with displacement. So the restoring forces are those forces that help the system to retain its initial original position, initial position. So if we define it, no matter what the direction of displacement, the force always acts in a direction to restore the system to its equilibrium position. Such forces is called as restoring forces. Equilibrium position is a position where net force is acting on a system is zero. So basically Hooke's law demonstrates the relationship between the forces applied to a spring and its elasticity. For further understanding, I'm going to consider a simple harmonic oscillator, a body of mass m attached to an ideal spring of force constant k and free to move over a frictionless horizontal surface is an example of simple harmonic oscillator. So consider a body of mass m is attached with a spring. The whole system is placed on a frictionless and smooth horizontal surface. So here we have a block of a certain mass and it is attached with a spring, and the other end of a spring is attached with a rigid support, and if you displace this object from its mean position or equilibrium position, the object oscillates between two extreme points. So in this diagram, this blue arrow shows the position vector, and then this red arrow shows the restoring force vector. So you can easily see that no matter where the object is, the position vector and the restoring vector are opposite to each other. So that's why we have a negative sign here. If the spring is stretched or compressed a small distance from its equilibrium position and then released, the spring will exert a force, which is restoring force. I already explained you what is restoring force on a body. The restoring force varies with the displacement x of the body from equilibrium position. So I'm going to discuss the three positions. The first one is when x is 0, which means that when a body is at equilibrium position, the spring is neither stretched nor compressed and restoring force is 0. Then when x is greater than 0, the restoring force is to the left and it is negative, and the spring stretches. And when x is less than 0, the restoring force is to the right, that is positive, and the spring compresses. So here I have the three positions which I have explained in the previous slide. The first one is that when a block is at equilibrium position, which is x is 0, and then when x is greater than 0 and when x is less than 0. So if I replace this block with a point mass m, for a, x is 0 and f is 0, which means that block is at rest position. Now if we talk about b, the x is greater than 0, for that f is negative. So the displacement vector is towards the right, and the force vector is towards the left, and the spring stretches. Now if we talk about c, x is less than 0 and f is positive, for that the displacement is towards the left and force is towards the right, and the spring compresses. So if F be the magnitude of a restoring force, then mathematically Hooke's law can be written as F is proportional to negative of displacement, negative of x. Or if we remove the proportionality sign, we get a constant. So here we have a k. So force will be equal to minus kx, where this k is the spring constant, and also known as force constant of a spring, and F is the force applied on the spring, which is restoring force, and x is the displacement because of this force. Now the negative sign again shows that the force exerted by the spring on a body is always directed opposite to the displacement. After Hooke's law and restoring forces, now I'm going to define few terms. These terms are very important for explaining simple harmonic motion. The first one is periodic motion. Any sort of motion which repeats itself in equal interval of time is called periodic motion. When a body repeats its motion in equal interval of time, it is a periodic motion. If we talk about oscillatory or vibratory motion, a back and forth periodic motion over the same path is known as oscillatory motion. So when the path of a body is same, it's periodic motion. Back and forth periodic motion is known as oscillatory motion. Now if we talk about one complete or vibration or complete cycle, so to understand this, I consider a body which is initially at point O and it is oscillating between 2 points A and B, where the distance from O to A is amplitude, and then we have range. I will explain these two quantities in next slide. Let's talk about complete vibration or complete cycle. A complete vibration or complete cycle means one round trip, says from A to B and back to A. So when a body is, let's suppose it is at point A, it goes from A to B and then back to A, it is considered as complete vibration or complete cycle. We can define it in another way, which is that let's suppose body is at O point, which is equilibrium position. So it will goes from O to B, then back to O, then O to A, and then back to O. So this is a little complicated. I will prefer my students to consider the first one, that let's suppose body is at point A, and when it will came back to this point, then it is considered as one vibration or a complete vibration or a complete cycle. So now if we talk about equilibrium position, it is a point where net forces acting on a body is zero. So we can define it another way, which is that it is a point where the velocity is at its maximum and the acceleration has fallen to zero. It is also called as mean position or midpoint. So midpoint or mean position or equilibrium position is a point where the velocity of a body executing simple harmonic motion is maximum and the acceleration of a body is zero. If we talk about extreme position, it is a point where the velocity has fallen to zero and the acceleration is at its maximum. It is also called as endpoint. So after that, a time period or periodic time, it is the time required to complete one vibration. It is also known as period of motion. We represent it with a capital T and it is measured in second. Now if we talk about frequency, it is the number of a complete vibration per unit time, or simply it is a reciprocal of time period. We represent it with F, and F is equal to 1 upon T. It is measured in cycle per second, and 1 cycle per second is known as hertz, so you can use hertz unit as well. And now amplitude is the total distance between between equilibrium position and extreme position, or the maximum distance away from equilibrium position. So amplitude is the total distance between mean position or equilibrium position and extreme position. Now if we talk about the range of motion, it is the total distance between two extreme positions, or it is equal to twice of the amplitude. So if A be the amplitude, then range will be equal to 2A. Okay, now the applications of simple harmonic motion. I'm going to explain the three applications of simple harmonic motion, that are mass spring system, uniform simple harmonic motion, and uniform circular motion, and simple pendulum. So let's start with a mass attached to a spring or mass spring system. I have given you a little introduction of mass spring system when I was explaining Hooke's law. This time I will explain it in detail. Consider a body of mass m is attached with a spring. The whole system is placed on a frictionless horizontal surface. So here we have a block of mass m which is attached with a spring whose other end is attached with a rigid support, and this block is placed on a smooth frictionless horizontal surface. Let the block be pulled to the right a distance a. So if you pull the block to the right to a distance a and then released, the attached body is acted on by a restoring force exerted by the spring and directed towards the equilibrium position. If it therefore accelerate in the direction of this force and move towards the center with increasing speed. So this means that when a block is displaced from mean or equilibrium position to extreme position, which is at displacement or distance a, and then we release the block, the force is restored in a block because of this spring, and the purpose of this force is to move the body towards the equilibrium position. Because of that, the body accelerates towards the mean position, and meanwhile the velocity vector of this block or body increases. The acceleration of body is not constant. However, the accelerating force, which is the restoring force, becomes smaller as the body approaches the center. As the purpose of restoring force is to restore the body towards equilibrium position. So when body is approaching towards equilibrium position, the restoring force has fallen or decreased to zero. So at equilibrium position or at the center, the restoring force has decreases to zero still the body cannot stop there, because of the velocity which has been acquired. The body overshoots the equilibrium position. We have already explained that at equilibrium position velocity is maximum. So because of that velocity, the body crosses the equilibrium position and continue to move towards the left side. As soon as the equilibrium position is passed, the restoring force again come into action, directed towards the right this time. The body therefore deaccelerates, and the magnitude of this increases with increasing the distance from equilibrium position. It will therefore brought to rest at some point. We call that point as extreme position, where the velocity is zero to the left, and repeat its motion in the opposite direction. So both experiment and theory shows that motion will be confined to a range plus a and minus a, which is plus minus a on either side of the equilibrium position. If there is no loss of energy by friction, the motion would continue indefinitely once it has been started. Now, if we talk about equation of motion, the resultant force on a body is simply the elastic restoring force and the force from Newton's second law. So according to Hooke's law, the restoring force exerted by a spring on a body is F is equals to minus kx, where k is the spring constant. I mark it as equation number 1. And according to Newton's second law, force is equal to ma, where m is the mass and a is the acceleration. I mark it as equation number 2. Now if we compare both equation, ma is equal to minus kx or a is equal to minus k upon mx, I mark it as equation number 3. So in this equation, a is the acceleration, which is rate of change of velocity, and velocity is the rate of change of displacement. So we can write acceleration as d2x upon dt square. And now put the value of acceleration in equation 3. Equation 3 changes to d2x upon dt square is equal to minus k upon mx, or d2x upon dt square plus k upon mx is equal to 0. So this is the equation of motion of a body attached with a spring. Now if we talk about the acceleration of a body, we know that in equation number 3, k and m are constants. K is the spring constant and m is the mass of a body. This means that a is equal to minus constant into x. So if we remove the constant, we get a proportional sign. So a is proportional to negative of x, which is the condition of simple harmonic motion. Okay, now energy in simple harmonic motion. I'm going to drive the relative expression for kinetic energy, potential energy, and total energy in the second application, which is simple harmonic motion and uniform circular motion as per the requirement of your course outline. So here we just try to understand that what types of force energies are involved, and we talk about equilibrium position during the oscillatory motion between two extreme positions. When the body passes through equilibrium position, the total energy is kinetic energy. The potential energy at equilibrium position is 0, because the spring is unstretched condition. In unstretched condition, and kinetic energy is maximum as the velocity or at equilibrium position is maximum. So the kinetic energy is half mv square. So if the velocity of a body is maximum, kinetic energy is maximum. So at equilibrium position, the kinetic energy is maximum and potential energy is 0, and total energy is equal to kinetic energy. If we talk about extreme position, when the body is at extreme position, it stops there for a while, and kinetic energy is 0. Total energy of a system is equal to potential energy. So we define extreme position as a point where the velocity of a body is 0. So if velocity of a body is 0, kinetic energy is 0, total energy is equal to potential energy. Now at some point x, where x lies between extreme position and equilibrium position, when the body is at x point, the total energy is the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy. Okay, now let's talk about the second application of simple harmonic motion, which is simple harmonic motion and uniform circular motion. Simple harmonic motion can be described as the projection of a particle moving in a uniform circular motion along a distance of the circle. So uniform circular means a motion of a body moving in a circular track with uniform velocity, and a projection means a shadow. So here we have a motion of a body moving in a circular track, which is a circular motion, and its projection is vibrating along the diameter. So this is simple harmonic motion, and this is the uniform circular motion of a body. Okay, now let's talk about equation of motion. Consider a particle P moving in a circle of radius x naught with constant angular velocity omega. If Vp the velocity of a particle, then Vp is equal to omega x naught, where using the relationship V is equals to R omega. So here we have a circle whose origin is at O. The particle P at time t is equals to 0 is at this point, and after some time t, let it is at a angular displacement omega t plus phi. So if we draw a projection of this particle, let it lie at point q, which is at x distance from origin. Now the particle is moving in a circular track, so velocity makes a tangent to the path, and we have this is omega as the angular velocity. Now in this diagram we are going to explain the acceleration. Consider two positions of particle. Both are at omega t plus phi. Let's suppose the projection of this is at plus q, and the projection of this at this point is at minus q. So since the particle is moving in a circular track with a uniform velocity, which means that magnitude of velocity is constant, but still the direction of particle is changes, and the acceleration produces by virtue of changing the direction of a body is known as centripetal acceleration. Centripetal acceleration is always directed towards the mean position or center of the circle, and let ax be the acceleration of projection. So this diagram is showing the displacement of projection, and this diagram shows the acceleration of projection, which is ax. So the particle P moves along the circumference of circle, and its projection move back and forth along the diameter of a circle. Now at instant t, let particle makes an angle omega t plus phi naught, where phi naught is the initial phase angle. So to solve this, we consider a triangle POQ, where O is the center of a circle, P is the position of a particle, and Q is the position of the projection. So from O to P we have x naught, which is the position vector. If we resolve this vector into its component, the horizontal component of x naught is x naught cos of omega t plus phi naught, and vertical component is y is equals to x naught sine of omega t plus phi. Since the particle projection is oscillating along x-axis, so we neglect the vertical component and consider x component, horizontal component, where omega t plus phi naught is the phase of motion, x naught is the radius of a circle, x is the displacement of projection. So x is equal to x naught cos of omega t plus phi. I mark it as equation number 1. This equation describes the motion of projection of a particle moving in a circular track with uniform velocity. Now let's talk about the acceleration of the projection of a particle. The particle is rotating in a circular track with or circular path with uniform velocity. For uniform circular motion, the acceleration of a particle is always directed towards the center of a circle, and this acceleration is known as centripetal acceleration, and it produces by virtue of changing the direction of a body. So by definition, centripetal acceleration is equal to v square upon r. So in this case the velocity of a particle is vp and the radius is x naught, so ac is equal to vp square upon x naught. Okay, now using the relationship v is equals to r omega, we can say that velocity of a particle is equal to omega x naught. Now centripetal acceleration become x naught omega whole square divided by x naught, or x naught square omega square upon x naught. This x naught will cancel this x naught, so AC will be x naught omega square. I mark it as equation number 2. So this is the acceleration of a particle. If we talk about the projection of a particle, the acceleration of projection of a particle is equal to minus AC cos of omega t plus phi naught, where negative sign is because the direction of acceleration is always towards the center of a circle. So if we put the value of centripetal acceleration, ax is equal to minus x naught omega square cos of omega t plus phi naught, and from equation 1 we know that x naught cos of omega t plus phi naught is x, so ax is equal to minus omega square x. So if this omega square is constant, then ax is proportional to negative of displacement. The acceleration of projection of a particle moving in a circular track with uniform velocity is directly proportional to negative of displacement, which is the condition of simple harmonic motion. Now, if we talk about time period, we all know that it is the time required to complete one vibration or one oscillation. The particle P is moving in a circular track. Its projection Q along x-axis repeats its motion after 2 pi radians. That is, it follows a periodic motion. So let's suppose we have a particle initially at this point, so it covers a distance of pi radian, and then again pi radian to reach back to its initial position. So it covers pi plus pi 2 pi radian. After 2 pi radian, the particle will reach back to its initial position or repeat its motion. So we can say that the phase angle increases by 2 pi radian as the time increases by t, where capital T is the time period. So we can write that omega t plus phi naught plus 2 pi is equal to omega into t plus capital T plus phi naught, or omega t plus phi naught plus 2 pi is equal to omega t plus omega capital T phi naught. So this phi naught cancel, omega t cancel, omega capital T is equal to 2 pi, or capital T is equal to 2 pi upon omega. Now as we know that acceleration of projection is minus omega square x, and acceleration is equal to minus k upon mx. So if we compare two equations, omega square is equal to k upon m, and omega is equal to k under root k upon m. So the time period will become 2 pi under root m upon k. Now frequency is defined as a number of complete vibration per unit time, and it is the reciprocal of time period. So just we take the reciprocal, frequency is equal to omega upon 2 pi. So frequency is equal to 1 upon 2 pi under root k upon m, where omega is the angular velocity or angular frequency, also called as radial or circular frequency. It is defined as rate of change of angular displacement. It is measured in radian per second. Is omega is equal to 2 pi f. So the unit of 2 pi is radian, and f is per second. So this is radian per second, which is the angular velocity, unit of angular velocity. Okay, after acceleration, velocity of projection of a particle. For that, consider the motion of a particle moving in a circular track with uniform velocity Vp. The velocity vector makes tangent to the path as shown in figure below. So here we have a particle P moving in a circular track, and let its projection is at point Q, and velocity Vp makes a tangent to the path. So this velocity vector is at omega t plus phi naught angle. If we resolve this vector into its component, we get Vpy and Vpx. So since we are talking about the projection, the velocity of projection will be Vpy. We neglect Vpx. Now the velocity of projection of a particle is Vx, which is equal to Vpy, which is equal to Vp sine theta omega t plus phi. But Vp is equal to omega x naught, so Vx velocity of projection is equal to omega x naught sine omega t plus phi naught. Square the equation, Vx square is equals to omega square x naught square sine square of omega t plus phi naught. I mark it as equation number 3. Now I'm going to use the trigonometric relation sine square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. Let us assume that omega t plus phi naught is theta. So sine square theta is equal to 1 minus cos square theta. but x is equal to x naught into cos of omega t plus phi naught from equation 1. So omega t plus phi naught is equal to theta, so x is equal to x naught cos of theta, or cos of theta is equal to x upon x naught. So sine square theta is equal to 1 minus x square upon x naught square. Now putting the value of sine square theta in equation number 3, equation 3 changes to vx square is equal to omega square x naught square into 1 minus x square upon x naught square, or we can write it as bx square into is equal to omega square x naught square into x naught square minus x square upon x square. So this x square will cancel. Vx square is equal to omega square into x naught square minus x square, and Vx is equal to omega under root x naught square minus x square. So omega is under root k upon m, so Vx is equal to under root k upon m into x naught square minus x square. So this is the velocity of projection of a particle moving in a circular track with uniform velocity. Now in last I'm going to derive the expression for total energy. So according to the law of conservation of energy, in absence of all frictional forces, the total energy of a system remain conserved, and it is equal to sum of all the energies involved in a system. So we have kinetic energy and potential energy. So total energy is equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy. I mark it as equation number 4. Now if we talk about kinetic energy of projection of particle of mass m moving with velocity vx along a diameter of a circle whose radius is x naught is equal to half mvx square. So we just put the value of vx which is under root k upon m x naught square minus x square. So kinetic energy is equal to, if you square it, k is equal to half m into k upon m into x naught square minus x square. So this m and this m will cancel. Kinetic energy is equal to half into k into x naught square minus x square. Okay, at equilibrium position x is equal to 0. So putting the value of x in equation the expression of kinetic energy, if we talk about velocity, vx is equal to under root k upon m x naught square minus x square. So we put x is equal to 0, so it is 0 square, which is equal to v maximum is equal to under root k upon m into x naught. So this x naught square will become x naught. So this is the maximum velocity of projection of a particle, and we can write it as omega into x naught. And if we talk about kinetic energy is equal to half k into x naught square minus 0 square, and kinetic energy maximum is equal to half into k into x naught squared. Now at extreme position x is equal to x naught, vx is equal to under root k upon m x naught square minus x naught square. So it is under root k upon m into 0, which is 0. So this is the minimum energy, and we already explained extreme position as the point where velocity is 0. And if we talk about kinetic energy is also 0, as the velocity of a body is 0. Okay, now potential energy, for that according to Hooke's law we know that force is equal to minus kx. If we only consider the magnitude of force, it is equal to kx. So we neglect direction for a while. As force is not constant, it varies during motion. So we consider F1 as a force at equilibrium position. For that x is 0, so we mark it as F1, which is 0, and at some point x force will be equal to kx. So the average force will be 0 plus kx upon 2 or half kx, and the potential energy is utilized in doing work. So potential energy is equal to Fx, so potential energy is equal to half kx square. Now at equilibrium position x is 0, so potential energy is equal to half k x square. Put the value of x as 0, it is a half k into 0 square, which is 0. So potential energy is 0, which is minimum. So potential energy at equilibrium position is 0. So if we talk about extreme position, x is equal to x naught, potential energy is maximum, which is equal to half k x naught square, and total energy is the sum of kinetic energy plus potential energy. So kinetic energy is half k x naught square minus x square, and potential energy is half k x square. If we add it, half k x naught square minus half k x square plus half half kx square. This half kx square, this half kx square cancel. Total energy is equal to half k x naught square. So if this x naught is constant, the total energy is of a system is constant, and this x naught is constant if the system is free from friction. So here we have a chart. Under the absence of all types of frictional forces, we have energies and position. So kinetic energy, potential energy, and total energy. At equilibrium position, x is equals to 0. Kinetic energy is half k x naught square. Potential energy is 0, and total energy is equal to kinetic energy. At extreme position, kinetic energy is 0. Potential energy is half k x square, and total energy is equal to potential energy. And at some point x, kinetic energy is half k x naught square minus x square. Potential energy is half k x square, and total energy is half k x naught square, which is a constant if x naught is constant. So this is possible for the case when friction forces are neglected. If we have a zero friction, the body executes simple harmonic motion for infinite period or for infinite time. Here we have a graphical representation of energies. If you plot a graph between x position and energy, and we have two extreme points. This is positive x naught and negative x naught, and this is the equilibrium position. So if you talk about energy, we have zero energy and half k x naught square, which is maximum. Now this curve shows the kinetic energy. We already discussed that at mean position the kinetic energy is maximum, while at extreme positions kinetic energy is 0. So this curve shows the kinetic energy, and this curve shows the potential energy. At extreme position potential energy is maximum, and at mean position potential energy is 0. So this is the graphical representation of the kinetic energy and potential energy. So the last application is of simple harmonic motion is simple pendulum, and simple pendulum is also known as a mathematical pendulum, and it is defined as a particle suspended from a fixed point by a weightless inextensible string. When the pendulum is displaced from a vertical by an angle theta, it oscillates. So here we have a point mass bob attached with an inextensible string. So this is the frictionless rigid support, and we have an inextensible weightless string, and we have a particle and a spherical bob. The weight of this particle is acted perpendicularly downward, while tension is acted upward. And if you displace it by making an angle theta and release, it will oscillate between two extreme points. Now net force is acting on a particle or a bob. So let's suppose we have a bob of mass m, and it is attached with a string of length l, and we displace it from mean position to extreme position to a displacement s, such that the string makes an angle theta with the vertical. Now the bob is acted by two forces, that is weight, which is acting perpendicularly downward, and tension in a string, which is Ft. If we resolve this weight into component, we get W cos of theta, which is mg cos of theta, and W sine of theta. So this W cos of theta will balance the tension force, and the bob is acted upon by mg sine theta, which is the restoring force. So F is equal to minus mg sine theta. So restoring force is equal to mg sine theta, and the S displacement from equilibrium position is equal to L theta. As we know that S is equal to R theta, so in this case R is equal to L, and length of a string, and theta is the angular displacement. So S is equal to L theta. Now the motion of pendulum is not a simple harmonic, since the restoring force is proportional to sine theta, while displacement is proportional to theta. You can see that. To convert it into simple harmonic motion, we assume that theta is too small, so that sine theta is approximately equal to theta, and we can achieve this condition only by assuming that displacement s is proportional to theta. So restoring force is equal to mg sine theta minus, and F will be equal to minus mg theta, or according to Newton's second law, force is equal to ma. So ma is equal to minus mg theta. This m and this m will cancel, and theta is equal to s upon L. So A is equal to minus G into S upon L, or we can write it as A is equals to minus G upon L into S. So G is the acceleration due to gravity, and it varies with respect to height and depth. For a particular place it is constant, and length of a string is constant, so this G upon L is constant. We can say that acceleration is directly proportional to displacement S, which is the condition for the simple harmonic motion. Now I am going to derive the relative expression for time period and frequency. For that we know that force is equal to minus mg theta. So theta is s upon L, so force is equal to minus mg into s upon L, and we can write it as F is equals to minus mg upon L into s. And according to Hooke's law, force is equal to kx. So here x is equal to xs, so F is equal to minus ks. So if we compare these two equations, minus ks is equal to minus mg upon L into s. This and cancel, negative sign cancel. So a spring constant is equal to mg upon L. Now the time period for simple pendulum will be, we know that time period is equal to 2 pi under root m upon k. So putting the value of spring constant, t is equal to 2 pi under root m divided by mg upon L, or we can write it as 2 pi under root ml upon mg. M cancel, so time period of a simple pendulum is 2 pi under root L upon G, and frequency is 1 upon T, so frequency is equal to 1 upon 2 pi under root G upon L. Okay, so this is all about simple harmonic motion. In today's lecture I explained what is simple harmonic motion, and what is Hooke's law, and restoring forces. After that I discuss important definitions and that helps in understanding simple harmonic motion. And after that I explain applications of simple harmonic motion, which includes mass attached to a spring, which is mass spring system, then simple harmonic motion and uniform circular motion, and at the end a simple pendulum. So I try my best to make my lecture simple and informative. In the end I just want to say, opportunities don't happen, you create them. Thank you. If you have any question, feel free to ask. I will try my best to answer them. Take care. God bless you.